further ado, I'd like to call upon Prime Minister, the leader speaking seminar, to here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and dear panel, and everyone in this house. I'm very glad to talk as the first speaker in the breaking round of BP Novice QF 2017. So first, in this debate, in a liberal democracy context, where everyone should be appreciated as they are, as what they wanted to be, and should not be forced by any kind of forces to force them to be recognized as something else, and should not be forced to do something that they are not consent with. We say, as the opening government, we promote this motion, and we say that will, in our side of the house, it will be a better world for the female athletes, because in this motion, the group that will be most affected by this motion will be this group. So, in this debate, especially for female athletes, who the vast majority of them, like in the first place, they love the sport they're playing, and they're like passionate on it, and they also consented to the job of doing sports when they actually started to become an athlete. But these are not supposed to be forced to do something they're not consented to, and because if they're, and at the same time, because they will move their time on some other thing, so it also will harm, like they will have less time to actually do what they want and what they're passionate in. So in my speech, I will basically talk about 4 points. So first, how by the sexualization of female athletes, it will actually force many female athletes to do what they do not want to do. And then I'm going to talk about why it is not good for the female athlete, and how harmful, what is the impact to the female athlete. And then I'm going to talk about how it's going to be better if in a world without the sexualization, and why it is good for our female athletes. So first, how is going to female athlete be forced to do something that they do not want to do and they never consented to in the first place? We say because of this sexualization. So what we were talking about is this female athlete, if they have some kind of sexy feature, the public, for example, magazine and some kind of entertainment company is gonna like take some kind of sexy photo in some kind of studio, but not like just taking photo at the sports field. And this will, and by doing that, this kind of female athlete actually have to put their time to go to this kind of studio and go to this kind of magazine company to actually take this kind of photo. Why it can be a forced choice? The opposition can say that if the female athlete do not want to go, they can just refuse that. But we say because like during the current economic, there are so many profit seekers, and these kind of people have very strong money power. So especially like for this kind of athlete, and like people behind them, for example, their family, because this kind of huge amount of money, usually this kind of popular magazine or the entertainment channel, they have a huge money power. So which means this kind of female athlete will be forced to join this kind of taking magazine or go onto some advertisement with their because this kind of companies actually focus on their sexual feature, and they think this kind of sexy feature is can sell the best and they can gain the most income. So that's why this kind of companies have the incentive to force this kind of female athlete to join this kind of activity, and for in many occasions this kind of the female athletes and the family and people related to the female athletes sometimes cannot reject this kind of offer for some reason, but it doesn't mean that they want to have to be shown as a sexy feature in the first place. And why it is harmful for this kind of female athlete? Yes.
Don't you think that even if in this situation, at the end the athlete can choose to getting the
Yes.
money in the good situation?
The athlete can choose get the money, but we say that if the athlete can better be appreciated as a great athlete instead of a sexy lady, we say that is better. And by taking this motion, we say it can make the female athlete to be appreciated as a great sport player, and that can be a better way comparing to be regarded as a sexy lady, and that is against their will. To come back to the point, why it's gonna be problematic for this kind of female player. So we know that for professional players, that they have to donate a lot of their time into sport, and usually their sport age is quite short. They only have several years. So if they are regarded as some kind of sexy feature, it will take them a lot of time to go to this kind of studio, and their privacy will also be deprived because there will be media come to their place and take photos of them, and that is actually against their will. It's not what they love, and it's not a part of their job. And then I will talk about why it is good in our paradigm. So we say that this kind of sport athlete, from very inner side of their heart, they actually wanted to be appreciated as a great athlete because the creative donated themselves to, they have a very close connection. Every day they practice this kind of sport, and they have a strong love to this kind of sport. So the best scenario for them is that they can earn sufficient money in this kind of sport, and also they can be appreciated as a great female athlete. So in our side of the house, it is better because this kind of female athlete can actually be appreciated as great female athlete, and my partner explained how is that going to happen and why it is definitely better than the opposition paradigm. So for all those reasons, we are very proud to propose.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'd like to welcome the leader of the opposition. The leader speaks for 7 minutes. Here on.
Madam Speaker. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We believe, as for the opening opposition side, that those female athletes actually have the right to choose how to express themselves or show themselves on media or on public, and actually denying the possibility is actually connected in a way discriminative way in this current society. That's why we're very proud to oppose this motion. I have mainly two things to talk about. Firstly, the female athletes itself actually has the right to choose to appear on the public, and also they want to do that. And secondly, this attitude itself is discriminative in a way. But before moving on, I have several refutation to what the opposition, what the government side had mentioned so far. So they mentioned that they are focusing on female athletes, but we don't see why it is so unique. That's because there are a lot of actresses or models, they appear on magazines and they'll show them skins or like wear bikinis and all that. Why is it so unique? So why do we have to always think about that? Because those actors, they also have other careers like acting and all that. Means that those people are also in the same case. So in this motion, I don't understand clearly why the other side just want to talk about female athletes. So their claim saying is not really unique, I think. So other refutation is included in my arguments. So firstly, about the freedom of choice and all that. So they mentioned that actually some females are forced to do that. But I would say rather, those people who appear in magazine have this certain fame. They're not actually forced because they have this other way to live by sports. So what I mean is that those major sports female athletes can live and can live without actually appealing to magazines or other media and all that, because major athletes are actually hired by business organization at first, and they are the team which is with the business organization, and then they go to nationals or other than that. So aside from magazine appearing on media, they actually have a lot more income and they can live without actually being on media, being shown as sexy or something like that. But even that, they choose to appear on media because they want to be seen from other people, other viewers, and that. That's obviously their freedom of choice, and they choose to do that. So So why do they actually do that? Is because they have certain incentive to do so. So what the government side mentioned is that it would rather not have no good effect for the sports career for the athletes and stuff. But we do not think so because of two reasons. So it would rather give them benefits than the demerits. Because firstly, they mentioned about short sports life. So those athletes, because of just winning in the Olympic or something, they would have fame. They would easily be models, or they would easily be appear in magazine, right? So what they said about they have sports, short sports life means after the sports life, they'll be given a certain connection to actually work in the modeling industry or the media industry. Given that those people actually have better opportunity, that after finishing their sports career. And secondly, when they are not well conditioned, they couldn't appear in Olympics, so they couldn't appear to the sports tournament. They could actually have other way to earn the money, or they show their fame in the magazine. So it means this sexualization itself would actually benefit them. But rather, also, as I mentioned about freedom of choice, those people who actually want to be seen sexy, because those people think that sexiness, also the strong, and not being feminine is. Being fierce and sexy is the strong point, rather than being feminine or being protected by those discriminative idea that women should not show their skin. So for those people who actually appear in magazines or other in a sexy costume or bikinis, they rather think that showing them their sexy appearance is what they want to show and what benefits them. Yes. Yes. So okay. So here what they mentioned is the corporation would actually force them. However, as I clearly stated, that it is not actually a pressure working here, but their will is working to appear on the magazine, on the media. And also, if the corporations actually force those female athletes to do so, they could simply not choose the athletes as a supporter for the sports career, because there are a lot of corporations who want to take good sports players, and there are a lot of corporations who will pay and support the players. So why do they have to force themselves to appear in magazines or other media to actually get support from that? They're just completely irrelevant. That doesn't make sense to to our side. So that's why the government side argument so far doesn't really stand here. So secondly, rather, would actually work for this actually would be discriminative in a way, because completely male can show their upper body naked in the magazine or anything, but we just say female should not be sexualized. They're just not given any same opportunity as men. They're just saying the sports industry or the motion of the government itself is showing this discriminative attitude towards female by banning or opposing this. So means this gender this gender discrimination is going to be clearly seen by taking this motion. Yes. So what I have mentioned so far is that there's a lot of will working for the female athletes, and we should not take the freedom for the right to choose. And secondly, it is showing. Yes.
Okay, don't you think in the current society, the vast majority of female athletes have to sexualize compared to male athletes? Or don't you think this situation itself is a discriminative situation?
We don't really think so, because in this current society, there are a lot of, like, female athletes, they want to be popular, they want to be famous in society. They could actually go to the sports events, and they would go to tournaments and all that. Because it is a sports industry, they're given any other way to express their opinion, any other way to show their skills, like what they can do in the sports field. That just doesn't mean that they have to always sexualize themselves in this society, in this era or whatever. So we think. So yes, that's the given idea from the opening opposition side. So because of all the reasons and reputations stated, the opening opposition side proudly opposes this motion. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Now I'd like to welcome Deputy Prime Minister to deliver speech in 7 minutes. Take care.
Couple of response and two extensions. So first response for the opening operations, mainly two response. Number one, their premise is about freedom of choice. So here's the case. If they want to choose to earn money by sexualizations, we are happy to support them to change their job from sport player to the model, so they can take the picture and show up in magazines every day and earn money from that. But the point in that debate, they cannot choose both at the same time. They cannot be sexualized on the magazines, and they cannot be the sport player at the same time, because that two options cannot be mutual exist in one life, and the clash between that identity is harmful for the woman. So that's why we're happy to oppose in the opening government. So that's why the premise in the freedom of choice of the opening operation doesn't stand, and it's not relevant to this debate in the first place. But second of all, they bring out a very interesting point and say that sexiness empower women. So here is the case. When the first feminist movement come out and ask for the right for the woman, they never say that because we are sexy, so give us the right to vote. What they do is like they show that they can engage with the job of the men, and they can do their job equally to the men. So if now the female athlete fail to actually fulfill their job as the female sport player, then it's meaning like they cannot empower anyone within this kind of society, within the kind of community. So that's why they fail to prove what kind of mechanism that actually sexiness can empower the actor, that's like to say the female athletes in the first place. And furthermore, they say that like this is unfair situation that a male can be sexualized but female cannot. But we need to recognize in the current situation there is a different treatment between female and male athletes in the current situation. That is to say, now female is highly to be sexualized rather than male. That like they actually have easier option to actually show up in the magazine, and they're being paid more than that. So it's meaning like the social society already have the norm, but like basically when you become female athlete, they're like most likely you will be sexualized in the first place. And like that is why like now they're being more sexualized than the male. And like that is what we regret and what we oppose in this debate. So the other will be integrated in my speech. So number one extensions, why sexualization hinder the female athlete to self-actualize themselves? So we need to recognize the actor that we're talking about here is about the female athletes and the way like they want to be self-actualize themselves. If they need to say like they want the society to recognize them as a sport player, to recognize their talent, to recognize they can play the sport and they can earn some money and they can win the tournament in the first place, doesn't necessarily mean that like they want the society to recognize them as the model and like as the sexy lady like appearing on the magazine in the first place. And like that's why that is the premise of the choice. They have to say like they want to do the sport in the first place. That's why they opt in the female athlete field in the first place, Madam Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. So why being sexualized when they are in the female athletes actually hinder that kind of choice and actually harmful for them. So two main analysis. Number one, yes.
Do you oppose sexualization of female singers?
I will explain about that, but we not oppose the female singer sexualization because there's different characterization between the singer and the female athlete. I will explain that right now. So when they're being sexualized, they have to say it like they're actually being objectified for something. For example, basically when the female athlete being sexualized, they want to sexualize to appear themselves, so that like they can earn money from their body, and like they want to do that because like maybe like the sport organization to use that to appearing that kind of player, that kind of like sport to like the male and like to the society in the first place. So it means that like these people actually being objectified to use that advertising for that kind of sport or advertising for that kind of organization in the first place, and I think that is harmful to some level. Number one, it's harmful for that individual because now their privacy will be intervened without their consent. Because what they consent in the first place that they play in the sport field and contribute for the tournament doesn't necessarily mean that like they consent to be a public figure and be criticized and be violated in the privacy. So that is the clear difference between the case of the singer or like the actress or like the people that they or the role model that they talk in the opening operation side. Why that's so? Because they consent and they know like when they opt in into that kind of field, like they will be criticized because of the action and like they need to cheat wealthy in order to earn money. But the female sport player in the first place, the only consent for them is to play in the sport player and to express themselves as a sport player. Doesn't necessarily mean that like they want to be criticized. But the point that when they being appear in the magazines and like the image can be will be spread out to the society, so the society will recognize them as a model, as a public figure, and they will criticize every single action of that like female athlete. For example, if like the female athlete in the sport field now, they forgot to shake hands with like the other people, then they will be heavily criticized because you know they do some kind of bad thing and that you should not do that, blah blah, something like that. And that's actually damage and like actually harm for their private life and like harm for like the self-actualization in the first place. But second of all, we say that it's also harmful for their own practice because as I said before, they want to be recognized as a sport player. So their premise and their main priority should be practice every day and like show their best in the sport tournament. But the point like people have only 24 hours per day. And like you need like to prioritize one thing over the other things. And like if now you prioritize being sexualized on the magazine, you have to go to that studio and take the photo. It means that at the same time you cut off the time to practice, to actually improve your skill, to like show off your talent in the first place. So it means that like your talent will never be recognized or will be actually like decreased during your time because now you actually prioritize the other thing. That is not actually one of your concern in the first place. So that's why it hinders them to actually like practice themselves and like actually bring out more like better outcome. But lastly, we think that uniquely in the current situation, female athletes now are actually gaining the popularity for like their sport player. For example, you can recognize a lot of like famous female players actually be recognized for their talent to playing or in the sport field, and like that kind of narrative is actually being widespread. However, if the woman now being sexualized, like if the female athlete now being sexualized in the current situation, it's a kind of counter narrative for that kind of narrative. But like now you like the woman can actually play in the sport field. So it's means now even if the woman actually do very good at the sport tournament, they still can actually recognize the woman as a role model, as a sexy lady, rather than like a good sport player. Why that's so? Because recognize like sexualization and sexy picture is actually easier to spread out to society. You can just go on the internet and find a picture of that female athlete easily, rather than like searching for the video of them joining the tournament in the first place. So like that's why like actually the norm and the counter narrative like they actually just like a sexy lady rather than a good sport player is actually harmful for like the narrative like the female sport player can actually do very good at the tournament in the first place. So what is the work in the opening government? In our work, we are happy can be to actually support the female tournament. We support, like in the facility, we support the women to engage more with the tournament. We also support the women who cannot perform their best to actually change some job like related to the sport elective, for example, you know, the gender or something like that, so that they can actually maximize and self-actualize themselves in a good way. That it can, that's like to say that they didn't crash with any kind of identity, you know, like within themselves. So that's why we are proud to propose this motion.
Okay, thanks to Mark. Now I'd like to welcome the team leader of the opposition. The leader speech in 7 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Chairs. So today, as opening opposition, based on freedom of choices of female athletes, and in some cases we believe that the sexualization of female athletes actually do good for female and for all the female audiences. So we believe that we should not oppose sexualization of female athletes. So today I have mainly two things to talk about. First, why are female athletes actually forced to appear in sexy way? And secondly, how in some cases sexualization of female athletes can actually be good. So before moving to my arguments, I have some refutation for the government side. So as my partner have told you, why they only oppose female athletes? So like actors, they also like want people to see how good they act, but actually there are also sexualization of actors. So why don't they oppose all these things, but only female athletes? What's the uniqueness? They never explain, and they never give any response to our refutation. So in this case, we believe they fail at the first place. So moving to my argument first, are female athletes actually forced to appear in sexy way? So we strongly believe no, because they're at first place, why these companies will force female athletes to take these sexy pictures? We don't know the incentive, right? Because like companies, they can gain income from many other places. They're companies. They can easily gain more income by using other ways, like expanding their business or other things. Why they have to impose? They have to force the female athletes they own to earn money and make them have these reputations before.
We believe in your side prime, number of potential female athletes will decrease because they reluctant. On the other hand, it damages the development of female sports itself. Don't you think this situation?
Sorry. Okay. So not only that these companies don't have incentive to use these female athletes to take sexy pictures, but like also the female athletes can actually choose what company to support them. So they actually can choose these companies that won't make them take sexy pictures, even if these companies exist. So we can see that actually these athletes can have many choices because they're athletes and they can actually play. So they can just choose the company they want. Also, we believe not only they're not forced, but actually some of the athletes actually want to have this sexualization because, like they've explained, uniquely female athletes have very short career. But luckily, because they play on TV, so it's given them these ways to be models or actresses easily. So why don't we just give them these choices to make them have this way to work as model or actresses after their athlete career? So I'm sorry. Next. Next, how in some cases it can be good for female athletes. Not for female athletes, but audiences and all female in the society. So we believe that sexualization can actually make female feel good. Like, for example, there are actually like underwear sports that it's very sexy. It shows the strength of women, and also like these plays are shown on TV, on internet, which we're very easily connect today. So like all the female or men can see that, and they will feel the female will feel confidence, right? Our female, we women can be that strong. We can be sexy. That we are so powerful. So it actually makes female feel confidence.
Madam,
okay.
If you are talking about female, we say to protect female, we actually want to protect every female to be recognized by who they are, but not by the stereotype of people who say female should be sexy.
We believe in this case they have consent because they choose to play these sports. So why we don't understand what you're talking about. And so in this case they have consent. So these players are feeling good playing that way, and also it makes female feel confidence. And this is actually sending a very good message to society. Like female can be strong, especially like in countries that gender equality is not completed. Like in these countries, it can actually giving a really good message to society and help improvement of the gender equality. To make a female feel strength and all that things. Finally, comparison. So the government side talked about like how female athletes like suffer because they're forced to do these things. So we have explained at first place they are not forced, and actually sexualization can give choices for these athletes, and also giving a really good message to all female in society. So we believe because all these reasons, we're actually offering more benefit than some volunteers. Thank you.